Hey everyone, Miss Wilkins here. Today I'm going to talk to you about thumb position. I'll be doing two videos on both cello and bass, but this is the first one for cello. Just want to talk to you about why you should learn it and then the details on how to get to it. If you really want to open yourselves up to more advanced repertoire, like cello choir, there are always going to be parts that are up here in the upper fingerboard. Now, I'm not an expert at this. I'm not a cellist, but from what I can tell you from learning it myself, was that it opened up a lot more possibilities. So I highly recommend that you do this. The book and the system of books that I definitely recommend are the thumb position books by Rick Mooney. If you haven't already been using his position books, I highly recommend all of his books, and I've been going through them myself on my own practice, and it's just been incredibly helpful. And then watching other, accomplished cellists and watch how they execute thumb position will be really helpful. So the big thing that's probably going to throw you is reading the clef, and what I would suggest is doing some time away from the instrument to learn the clef. I have some flashcards on Quizlet, treble clef for the cello. So I highly recommend doing that in your brain rather than trying to do it at the same time as you're trying to figure out the technique on the instrument. Okay, so that being said, you should learn the note names and also the finger numbers. So as you're going through my flashcards, you'll see that they have both. Okay, so that's sort of the intellectual side. Let's talk about the execution side. I have my cellos all taped this way for my classes. So there's a first finger, a fourth finger, a fourth position tape, and then the harmonic. And so that harmonic tape is the one that I'm going to be working at. If you don't have tapes on your cello, then just use a pencil marking. You want to find the spot halfway between the bridge and the nut. And that's going to give you the octave harmonic. And it's the same across all of the strings, okay? So that being said that they are an octave, so this would be A, and this is D and G and C, okay? One octave higher than the string. All right, so there are 4 finger patterns in thumb position, but let's just talk about how the left hand frame. So your thumb, from what I've heard from cellists, is that the string is going to touch you at the base corner of your thumb knuckle. And again, so I'm not a cellist, but I've done a lot of research and sort of collected what people have said. So that it should not be on your knuckle, okay? It should not be there, but it'll be at the bottom corner of your finger, okay? And if you start out with Mooney's books, he has you just putting it lightly down, so you're not pushing all the way down. I do have some videos with scales where I talk about where you would be pushing it down and going up to play the scale. But for this instance, you're going to just be lightly touching your thumb wherever it puts down for his book. And then he'll walk you through the 4 different patterns. So you have a half step between your second and third finger. So if I put thumb down, 1, whole step, and then a half step. There's no fourth finger, okay, so your fourth finger is not used. So I have whole step, half step. I could have a half step between my first and second finger. Okay, that's pattern number 2. Pattern number 3 would have the whole step between 1 and 2. Sorry, thumb and 1. I think I did that one. And 4 will have no half steps, so that's the diatonic. Okay, so we have those 3 patterns. So half step here, half step here, half step here. Sorry, 4 patterns and no half steps. Okay, hopefully I've said that clear. It's early this morning, so bear with me. Okay, so we've got the 4 patterns. And then again, you've done your work away from the instrument to learn the notes. So then you would start out with some simple tunes. If you're a Suzuki kid or if you know the Suzuki tunes, they work really well in thumb position on the cello. So I highly recommend that you just start learning some of those. Again, the Mooney book will help you. So if we take a piece like French folk song, and we're going to start out on a D, so we're going to set our hand frame in that pattern number 1, which is the whole step, half step. And then my thumb is lightly resting here. Also want to make sure that you've got almost a straight line here. You're not resting on the cello. This is really important. A lot of cellists say this. I tell my students to get that neck as close as possible and then come around as much as you can. Okay, and you should be able to clear that bout pretty easily. It should not be in your way at all if you're set up, if your posture is good. So, setting down and finding those notes. And then he also talks about target notes. So this is a D. It should match my open D. So I'm always looking for notes that I can check for accuracy. So my fingers stay round. I'm playing on the tips of my fingers. There's no pancakes. A lot of times I see kids with their fingers pointing down at the bridge. A good rule of thumb, pun intended, is to check your thumb. If your thumb is pointing towards your bridge, you want to make sure that it points straight out and is perpendicular to the string. And if you have a harmonic tape there, your thumb is right along that tape. It's right on it. So your angle of your thumb is really important. It doesn't want to be pointing up at you. Okay, so I'm going to have that contact and angle of my thumb. Then I'm going to find that. And then I can begin. And French folk song's nice because it peels away from the built hand position. And again, that's why one of the pieces, it's a piece that starts the viola book in the Suzuki world. So it's a great piece for building that left hand frame, and then everything stays put and you just peel. And again, when I go over to the next string, I'm going to move my fingers over and stack. I'm going to do it quickly, but I am stacking. I'm not pulling this third finger out of nowhere. Okay, so my thumb is playing lightly. I'm not pushing all the way down. I'm just doing lightly. Good, and then arm weight. A lot of books talk about using the weight from your shoulder to push down the string. I'm not actually squeezing with my fingers, like trying to pull it down somehow. I'm really just using the arm weight from my shoulder, and that's how we're pushing the strings down. That was just the basics. I highly recommend that you get Rick Mooney's cello thumb position books, both 1 and 2. Also pick up his position books as well because they're just indispensable. And then watch lots of people play thumb position, and then also try it yourself. You can get some violin parts. Like I said, if you pick up the Suzuki Violin Book 1, you can play most of those early pieces, all of them really. I mean, for that book 1, I maybe wouldn't want to go up to the minuets, but certainly Song of the Wind and Rhody and all of those early pieces in the Suzuki Violin Book 1 would be perfect candidates to practice this with. And of course the book as well. All right, so that's it. Take care, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.